All right, welcome back to Tatay Time. This is Papaloy,
Papa Ben.
exploring the world of fatherhood with philosophy, science, and art.
We're going to be exploring a question. Are Filipinos chronic body shamers?
Chronic.
Yeah. yeah.
With emphasis there, huh?
yeah. Through the younger years of our daughter's upbringing, that we've heard some statements made by not just people around us, but statements in general that I've heard people say to each other in kind of general conversation, and it started to make me wonder about this question. The first statement would be when the daughter was kind of in her younger years.
Mm-hmm.
So to put this kind of into context, in my family, I'm the smallest person. Okay, I'm the runt, as they call it in the US.
Bisaya pa, ihid.
Ihid. Yeah. Mona ako. So, and then on the wife's side, she is also the smallest. Ang ihid. I guess is that how you say it?
Yeah,
ihid po siya. Yeah.
Baboy.
yeah. Yeah. So in the US culture, we would be considered the runts of the litter, right? And for people maybe who don't understand what that means, it's like, in like you're mentioning, like in a family of animals, pigs or dogs, it would be very common for the smallest of the litter to kind of actually be disposed of. I don't know if you remember that movie Charlotte's Web. It was like a long time ago, but like back in the 90s probably. But that whole movie was based on a pig that was supposed to be disposed of, and the father wanted to get rid of, or I don't know exactly what he wanted. I think he wanted to like kill it basically. And that's very common in farm life, is to get rid of the runt. One of the statements that we heard kind of regularly, ipatambok ang bata. Ipatambok ang bata. What would you say that means?
Maybe you're too thin or too small, I guess.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a very shallow statement, right? I guess because without even considering the genetics of the parents, people are making comments that your kid should be larger or bigger or taller or whatever it is. It's just like an outburst kind of a statement. And it's like, but even my own mother would be concerned about the size of her kid, and because first of all, our kid is breastfed from birth, right? So that was a very fortunate thing to actually have in her life. That's a good thing. And then as they wean off, it's very very common here to get them on some kind of formula, right? And that's and there are different kinds of formula, and then the formula that we bought her was soy based, and that seemed to be uncommon, I guess. I'll just put it that way. So it was like a constant issue of like, what are we feeding her? And there was even a time, I think, when the daughter was maybe 3 years old, when we did start the soy based formula. My mother was so concerned that she actually went with us to the pediatrician to ask her, which I actually appreciate that she took the time to go to the pedia, and she heard from the pedia. We have the same pediatrician. Shout out to Doc Sereno, if anyone's looking for a good pediatrician. One of the
best out there.
Yeah, breastfeeding advocate. She actually took the time to go and speak to the pediatrician and ask her, is this okay to be using a soy-based formula? Because it's very, if you go to the store here, I had to go out of my way to find a soy-based formula. And why did I do that? Because dairy-based products are known to cause like mucus or constipation in, especially in younger kids. There's actual research to show that. And our pediatrician even told my mother, she's like, this is fine. It's not a big deal. And the way she presented the growth of our daughter was that for her size, she's okay in terms of weight. It's normal weight. She's not tall, so you don't have to expect her to be like this certain weight category. So for her height, it was totally normal. And even after that, man, it was still like an issue.
She's too small still like that.
Yeah. And of course, this affected the mother, the wife. because then they're gonna have their emotional conflicts, because not only was my mother saying things, it was her mother as well. It was like telling us to do things, and as much as I could find, I tried to do the proper reading, and obviously our pediatrician was okay with it. This is no big deal.
It's the doctor.
Right. She's the
Why would you
doctor.
argue
And
with her?
even then it was still an issue. So it's like you heard from the medical professional. It's not just from me now. But even after that, she would hear from other people that, the baby should, the baby needs to be bigger and all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of the beginning of this perspective where Filipinos are chronic body shamers.
Chronic.
Yeah, because it doesn't stop there in the infancy. It extends into the younger years, adolescence, even adulthood. And so to put that into context for people, there was a time when I was like heavy into jogging, and I probably lost a few kilos. It wasn't even that much of weight. And I was people were, naniwang ka?
Yeah.
Naniwang ka? I heard that a lot too. Like, naniwang ka?
That's a compliment, though.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't seem like it, because
right.
the way they were, naniwang ka? Ikaw
Or maybe it's too
unsa?"
much according to their perspective.
Maybe, yeah. So it's like, I don't really understand.
The next question would be, are you on drugs or something?
Yeah.
What's in their minds?
Yeah. Maybe that's what they're thinking, because drugs are definitely a problem here. So we're going to take a break. We want to give a shout out to our friends at the Mighty Noypi channel. Check them out on YouTube. You get some nice reaction videos on some Filipino culture, some K-pop reaction videos. And here is a highlight to give you guys an idea of what that content is like over at the Mighty Noypi channel.
UFOs, and what does it mean to the ordinary Filipino? Mainstream media in the US is suddenly creating news around the subject of UFOs. The push for UFO disclosure were done by military people, for many years. The government has been lying to us. As a society, as a culture, we are so preoccupied with survival. This news ain't worth shit to most of us. And although grabe kayo ka-exciting, as a society, we are so controlled by our politics, our religion, and our media. The US and other first world nations are already thinking of colonizing Mars. And kita, we're still stuck with the political dichotomy of DDS and Dilawan. Gives perspective ba that, other beings from other worlds or other dimensions are already visiting us, and we're still stuck with this two-dimensional thinking.
So the way I also hear people speak to each other, not just like what people said to me or to the daughter, and the way people speak to each other, it's like, so when you are heavier set, even fat, they'll be like, Tambok ka. It's like, damn, when are you going to be satisfied with somebody's size? I don't understand it.
Yeah. They're pretty blunt out here, right? And it comes to like talking about your body or age or even their personal stuff. Yeah, that's very common here. You were shocked, though.
Yeah.
Even the charts, man. I mean, when I looked at the charts, there's a chart for Asians. There's a chart for Europeans. If you really want to compare where the normal range is, according to the height and weight ratio, because I checked it as well. But there's not really one standard that fits all. Yeah, you're right. That's why it's not right to let's say judge based on one's standard just by observing right?
Yeah.
one particular case.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys probably haven't come across that much yet because your guys' daughter is still pretty young.
Yeah,
and
Okay, yeah.
she's a nice heavy baby. So I doubt you guys hear that very much.
And we're both thin, so I mean, she seems like bigger compared to maybe we look like. So I don't know.
But
That's one
your
thing.
side of you guys are
Yeah,
in your family you're taller.
I'm also the runt in our family. You just look at them. I no offense to my siblings, but huge.
Yeah. In terms of mass, I
See,
guess.
body shaming.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's if it has to do with the modern culture with there's so much media on maybe people are confused as to what actually is, because now apparently it's there's like this positivity, or was it called like it's like a movement or something. It's like where if you're bigger you should be happy
or
with yourself,
or maybe satisfied or whatever.
Yeah, like beauty comes at all sizes.
Something body. Yeah, I forgot the proper term though, but I've heard about it.
Yeah. I forget what that's called too, but it's like a thing right now. And that's fine. Like if you want to say that beauty is in all sizes, I have no problem with that. I'm not saying that people should be a certain size, but if you're like obese and then you're saying, it depends if you're promoting a unhealthy lifestyle or unhealthy weight category, then that's also a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there needs to be some self-awareness on what you are actually doing with your lifestyle. If you're naturally a bigger person and you exercise and you eat decent food and you just happen to be bigger based maybe on your genetics, there's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, when people are, criticizing other people's kids on a very much kind of a shallow level. And like you're saying about the average, these charts, these are just averages, right?
Averages,
that's why it's called an average. If it was called a fact, then it would be a different chart, right? Because it would be impossible to make an exact chart because of the genetic variations that humans and all living creatures on this planet experience. Genetic variation.
Yeah. Like, let's say if your child is slightly above average or slightly below average, it's fine. It's not really end all and be all. It's there within the range or somewhere out there. There's another chart that when you compare it to Americans, I don't know if it's the food or the lifestyle, but most when I go to America, there are like big people there, lots of big people. So I don't have a problem with that. If my child is not as big as Western people or Europeans, because we have different foods here, different lifestyle. Right. Yeah, so even genetics, I guess.
Yeah, even within our family, our side of the family, we have family members that their kids are like 6 footers, right? I mean, look at some of our nieces and nephews; they're tall. Yeah, my daughter will never reach that height. So how could anyone expect a kid from 2 runts, right, to have a 6 footer? It doesn't make any sense.
And you wouldn't know though at that age, because you'll never know they have some sort of growth spurt at their teenage years. Yeah, so who knows, right?
Could be.
So like judging for now wouldn't be for me logical. I would say like, okay, my daughter's growing normally for now. Maybe she grows to be tall or not, fine with it. But I can't really say. Who knows? She could just be average, above average, or below average. Well, for me, as long as she's smart, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as, dili siya luya.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no signs from at least from our kid where she's like waking up and tired all the time, and
she's pretty active. I mean, when I see her, she's climbing all over the place. Yeah. She's got strong bones.
We have no reason to believe that she's malnourished or is in need of something. I'm sure all kids, like vitamin D, right? Like all kids whether or not you're what kind of genetic variation at this age in our society. Most people, even adults, have lack of vitamin D.
Yeah. Because here I've noticed like it's a lot to do. It has a lot to do with aesthetics or how things or even people look.
Sure.
Even with the collar, right? You noticed that. I mean, we've talked about it before. Like you have to have a certain shade of light.
Sure, that's another one.
Yeah,
that's another one. That's
so.
Itom kay ka.
It's more desirable.
Dili ka akong
Here.
anak.
Yeah, and that's pretty normal. And you see it all over the place again. Ads and all that on TV. You look at the celebrities; they're mostly light skinned.
The skin whitening here
same,
is ridiculous, and that's a big problem too. The whitening products that are available here being promoted on the radio, on billboards.
And imagine growing up as a kid like that. I mean, you see it all over. Like you see it all the time. And you hear it on the radio, as you've said, on TV, and you see all the celebrities, they're being admired, and they're the ones promoting the products as well. It's
right.
Like whiter underarms. We've had an episode as well. Yeah,
Jesus.
So white skin.
Yeah,
everything should be white. I don't know why.
Dark.
Just imagine
armpits.
having white eyes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a problem
for sure. The media culture here in the Philippines, to a high degree, is body shaming, right? To make people believe that their skin needs to be whiter, that their nose needs to be longer or straighter or whatever, is definitely the fault of media networks across the country.
And there's a reason why some people's noses are bigger when we evolved in that particular area. It was a bit warmer in climate. You had to run all the time, right? So you need to breathe in more. I guess I could be wrong, but that could be the case. And even with the color of the skin, naturally, if you go to a colder climate, you evolve there. Your pigment doesn't really need that much. What do you call this? Sunlight.
Right. You don't need to. Your skin doesn't need to defend itself from the UV rays.
So and there's an advantage to having also a darker complexion.
For sure,
you get more protection from the sun. So that's also a part of it. So I guess there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just more on, as I've said, preference because of maybe for the past hundreds of years, it was Europeans who were dominating. Was the dominant culture, I guess. So naturally, people would gravitate towards that. We were under Spanish colonization for the past few hundred years. So of course there would be some type of, let's say, what do you call this? Inferiority complex or something that we want to be them in a way, if not the skin color, a little bit of that, longer nose, right?
Yeah.
So there's that, and I don't know why though, but there's it's a problem I think that we should address or even overcome individually. That there's beauty in all forms and shapes and sizes and colors that you can appreciate.
Yeah, I can't remember watching the few Filipino movies I have watched. I don't remember seeing like a straight up African American.
There are, especially it's hard though because some of them are half black.
They're not on the billboards. I'll tell you that.
But not a lot of them. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it's just unfortunate. I think
it's very unfortunate because I mean, if you're a younger person and you're the group mentality is a big deal in a younger person's life, especially even starting at as early as grade school. The the kids will want to feel accepted. And if those kids have the mentality that these other physical features are inferior or somehow lower in status, that's a really bad perspective, right? If the parents are promoting it because they're buying the whitening products and they feel like they have to change their hair because, you know, like the wife, she has more curly hair, or we call it kind of like nappy hair in the US, and I really like that kind of hair. I guess you would maybe even call it native hair. You know, maybe you see it more common with females sa bukid or people from sa province. I like that kind of hair, and it's a constant battle in the house where I'm like, why do you want to straighten your hair? Like, don't do that. Your hair is fine. I like it the way it is. But she always feels like she needs to straighten it. She wants to do that, whatever they call it, rebonding or something like that.
Could it be though that it's like people just wanting to go the opposite direction of things? Like, I don't know a lot of white people, but I've noticed that they like tanning their skin as well. So
that's why it's so crazy.
Yeah, it's that's kind of tricky though.
It is. If people don't know this, you can go to any park in the summertime.
Here's a funny thing though. Yeah, when I was in New York, like or when first time I went to LA, you see people like sunbathing all
the time.
Yeah, all the time. Even in Central Park during the summertime. Here, people are afraid to go. People
are hiding from the sun.
Hiding from the sun, man, because it's gonna turn you into like brown.
Yeah, like God forbid you actually look normal,
badly browned and shit.
Yeah, if people don't know that, people are wearing
all that whitening stuff that you brought just go down the drain.
I know.
After a few hours. Yeah, I think that's a human thing too. It's like just going the opposite direction. Like maybe white people find. I'm not speaking in behalf of white people. I'm sorry. I don't want to call it white people. I just want to say like maybe Caucasian people who want to or would find tanned or brown people maybe appealing or attractive. I don't know. Even brown people or black people still also find white complexion beautiful. I don't know. Maybe it's just going to the opposite direction of where we're at individually. I'm not sure. It's strange, man.
Yeah, for anyone that might not realize this, that people our European friends out there literally intensify the sun. They hold these like what are those things, like those tanning mirrors or something, right? They'll hold those so that the sun will reflect to their body and they get more. They have tanning salons, right? And this is like a normal thing in the
that's not in the US.
They're like, what?
They're gonna go bankrupt here.
Yeah, there's no tanning salon here, man. But for the Pinoys out there that don't realize this, white people are trying to become your color.
Some of them, or a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of them, man. You go to, even in Hawaii, there's a lot of white people there, and you see them tanning on the beach all the time, every day. You will not, if there's a sunny day, you will definitely see a white person on the beach, almost butt naked, right? Yeah. Just trying to get brown.
Doesn't help too that how popular K-pop here is in the Philippines. Those groups are like pale.
It's strangely pale.
Deathly pale.
Yeah, they're going for the death look.
Yeah, like oh my goodness.
They want to look like Wednesday Addams or something.
And a lot of kids want to look like that.
Yeah, which is an issue, right? And that's what I'm saying, because it affects our youth and their perspective of what is beautiful. And they're going to be, like I think you've told me before that there are names that you get called when you're a kid if you're of a darker complexion.
Yeah.
Which is terrible.
Yeah, I remember I had a friend, used to call him Boy Negs or something like that. Yeah, he was like a darker than usual.
Darker than usual. Boy Negs. That's some seriously racist shit right there.
But Filipinos are just, they say it without any doubt at all. I'm not sure if it's racist, but yeah, Filipinos can be the most unassuming racist.
Yeah. I mean,
or even unknowing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's probably apparent in all cultures, but I just find it like it's like a level up here. That's how I feel about it anyway. This is like maybe because I'm a parent now and then like I observe it more. Like I didn't really hear too much of that growing up. Not that I can remember anyways, where people are making fun of each other because of the, what level of whiteness they are, so like, or something like that. That was never something you would say to somebody. But here apparently I guess it is from what it sounds like what you're saying. Boy negs. That's terrible, man.
Yeah.
You probably get into a fight. Like you call someone like that in the
for sure, man.
But
and here it's pretty common to like use negro or negra because that's a Spanish word that we use commonly, but you can't say that in the States. That's now, of course, maybe before, but here in the Philippines we even have the negros. That's a place. That's an actual place.
Yeah. It's an island.
It's an island. So I'm not sure if there's like a racist connotation there. It's just a normal thing here in the Philippines.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're a young person, or
we have black people here too, the Itas. They're like the natives.
Yeah.
They apparently came from because their culture is well preserved.
Is that the Igorot?
Lahi sa ng Igorot.
Lahi sa ng Igorot.
But the Itas are very distinct. They have the whole curly hair, very dark complexion, and they live. I'm not sure if they're from the mountains. I guess they're from the highlands. I should have read up on history again. Yeah, my goodness, my brain is fried.
Yeah,
I forgot my history.
I think at the end of the day, it's if you're a young person and you're looking around yourself and you have that mentality where like, oh, you kind of look at someone's armpit and you're like, man, that's a dark armpit. You should really ask yourself, why the hell do I think that way? Because that is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Dark armpits? I mean, come on, man.
Next thing we'll know will be like whitening our anuses and shit. Fucking A, man. That's where you draw the line.
And if you're a parent, you should definitely not promote the whitening products in your house. Get them out of your house, except that you are brown and beautiful. Yeah,
not
good luck.
Here.
But I mean, it's got to change, man. It's got to change, and I definitely am making it a point in the upbringing of our child to, I've already told the wife, like, stop buying that stuff. I will buy anything, even if it costs more than what you're used to. Because if you go to a place like Ororama and you go to like the lotion section, it's all of it. There's nothing that doesn't have whitening in it, and that's a problem because that's the cheaper stuff, right? So of course, if you're buying lotion and you're not economically up there, you're gonna go to a place like Ororama. That's where you're gonna buy your skin products, and it is a real problem, right? It's being promoted at that level, and if that's all you have access to, then that's what you're buying. And so you're bringing it into your house, you're showing to your kids, yes, this is this shampoo, I gotta get this placenta whitening bullshit, right? Like, what the fuck is that? And then you get your shampoo is like, made to make your hair straighter, and like, what the fuck, dude? Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. I told her, like, stop buying this. Every time I find something, I throw it away. I like, you buy this again, I'm throwing it away. I don't care if it's a waste of money because it's I don't want this in the house. Just stop it. There's no, I will pay for something more expensive, whatever. if it stops promoting this nonsense culture of body shaming.
For me, well, I just let her be. But yeah, I don't agree with it personally. But if she wants to, okay. But for I'm correct, because we have kids, so I prefer my child not to follow that path. It's not good for her, let's say, self-image, how she looks at herself.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
we should.
I'd rather she be comfortable with herself, whatever color,
as much as possible. Obviously, they're gonna be concerned about it, especially when they get into the groups. and they start being influenced on the popular kids. What are they doing, and what is everyone else doing? And that's a big deal for not just kids but adults, right? It goes into our adulthood. So for me, that's the concern. If I can change the mentality early on, that's going to carry into her adulthood perspective. And that's really what I'm hoping to change, at least with our daughter.
Now when I think about it, if I kind of trace back to grade school or high school, who were the popular kids in their school? Yeah, would be interesting. Like, were they lighter in complexion?
Probably athletic, probably the more outspoken, the more chatty people, the more socially.
But the ones that we
inclined.
consider, let's say, who are beautiful, or let's say where everybody adores them or has a crush on them, they're probably the ones. I mean, the women, since probably there were, or even if you're a guy and if you're like we call it here tisoy, like a bit whiter than you have some sort of especially sa Philippines, so we call them if you have some sort of Spanish blood prominent, so you're like a conyo or something, so you'd be considered more of a tawag na din bit more appealing, let's just say. Or even if you're a girl, going tisay, they call it tisoy, tisay. So that's very common here.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're really dark and nothing to show for, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, probably not too many popular dark kids here. Huh?
There are, if you're funny.
If you're funny. Yeah, maybe if you're socially accepted. Sociable, I should say. Sociable.
That's what I noticed too when we were in grade school or high school. And there are some beautiful. I had a crush on this. She was a bit because I personally like the morena look.
Which is what?
Darker than usual.
Darker,
yeah.
Brown.
Morena, brown, yeah. Not darker than usual, but the normal Filipino color or
darker than the usual billboard. Just put it that way. Normal for Filipinos, but probably darker than what you see on TV. So
depends on one's taste. I don't really care what other people think. Pero for me, I don't really have that. It has to be this white or something light skinned, because I know there how it's been portrayed ever since. I've noticed that, so that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, to I guess put an end to this topic, you're kind of reinforcing what I've kind of observed in terms of the body shaming, and it's a real issue, and it's concerning as a parent and someone who wants the next generations they should feel confident, right? And we don't want to promote them having less confidence. And if there is a movement where there is beauty in all sizes, I'm all for that. If that's your natural kind of size, as long as it's not promoting an unhealthy lifestyle. If someone is bigger and they're eating Cheetos all day long, that's not good, right? But if you're naturally a bigger person, nothing wrong with that. And there is definitely beauty at all sizes.
Yeah, that's true. And I also have I want to know, like, is it like unique here in the Philippines? I'm sure it's not. Maybe in Korea as well.
What's that?
That
the body shaming?
Yeah, not just the body shaming, even the complexion. Like I'm interested, like, to know, like, in Indonesia or in Malaysia, is it the same? Like here in the Philippines, they were under different circumstances with their history, their culture.
Yeah, if you're an OFW, let us know what the culture is like in your area. We definitely would be interested to hear about that.
Anyway, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next time, and we're out. It's father time.